Hi, I'm Tim. I'm your Thursday sub for the Pagan Perspective. It's Saturday today, but I was asked to sub on Thursday, obviously, with Thursday being my sub day. But given the time difference between the regular host and myself, me going to bed early through some stress, there's something going on in the world. I don't know if you've heard of it. I've heard about it. So yeah, I didn't end up getting the message until the Friday, but obviously being a sub, I'm taking it seriously, so I'm uploading Thursday's video today on Saturday. It will have Thursday's date in the title, unless it's incorrect. I can come back and fix that later if I need to. So, what fiction has inspired us on our path? If any fiction has inspired us on our path. For myself, I've always read fantasy. I've always been interested in other states of mind, other worlds, there being other things out there, hidden worlds that are running parallel to ours. I mean, a really good visual example for that would be things like the Wizarding World in Harry Potter, where it's just next door. It's at the same. You go through a regular phone box in London into the Ministry Underground. Diagon Alley is just around the corner. Platform 9 3/4, for example. Worlds are just next door. The Dresden Files books by, I can't remember the author's name, but Dresden Files, you'll be able to find it easy enough. Again, similar sort of thing. It's set in Chicago, and there's the regular world, and then there's the magical world. And obviously those are all fantasy, made up stuff, but some of them, a lot of fantasy in fiction does draw on much older stories, whether you think they're made up or not. They draw on things that we would generally consider as being part of our cultural history and whatnot. There are people who would consider, for example, Merlin to be a druid, or a British shaman of some kind. So people who are reading stories about Merlin, Arthur, all those kind of things, are reading stories that they feel are a reflection of something in the past they're trying to emulate. Now, as I've said in the past, I came to pagan worldview fairly late. I don't know, 2.5 years in at this point. Before that, I would have claimed to have been a staunch atheist, but the more and more of these topics that I listen to and contribute towards on the Pagan Perspective, the more I realise that many of the worldviews that I would count under the umbrella of pagan, magical, whatever kind of word you want to use for it, existed beforehand. My love of nature was just enhanced by seeing the world slightly differently. I mean, at the moment I've got sage, some little things. This oak, it's 1 year old. It comes up to about here. You can't really see it. Him, even. I called him Goliath when he came up last March. So he's a year old. None of my other oak trees came up any taller than this. And I refer to him as though he's a pet. I've called that one Goliath. He's my tallest oak that's 1 year old that I have. The thought sprung into my head earlier that, oh, he woke up because he's got his new leaves for the year. Those things of being part of what I see as part of my pagan worldview, of unconsciously personifying aspects of nature and whatnot, which I believe is probably part of the origin of a lot of the old stories. As far as my specific path, I've rambled slightly, but hopefully that's not too much of an issue. I would say that my path is mostly druidic, some Norse leaning there. I may have coined the phrase Drusatru. You've heard Brosatru. They're kind of screaming skull and getting Nordic tattoos and Hail Odin and all that kind of stuff, and changing their name to Odin's Son on Facebook. But yeah, Drusatru, Druid, whatever. Mostly druidic. Like I say, yeah, I've always been drawn to nature, always been comfortable in nature, always loved nature. Just not had the same relationship with it. I did, for a long time, play World of Warcraft, and I've always played a druid in World of Warcraft, which was something that I'd been out of the game for a couple of years, 3-4 years in fact, before I found my path. And it's interesting looking back. One of the big deal in-game characters is called Cenarius. He's horned and he's surrounded by animals, which is obviously alluding to Caninos. So there's lots of things within Warcraft druids, and I suppose druids in fantasy gaming in general, where I would say it's likely that's going to influence me somewhat, subconsciously at least, towards the idea of, my idea of being a druid is being a steward of nature. I certainly don't have aspirations to being master of ceremonies or a politician, which are just as viable, just as far as historical reconstructionism, or what is generally considered to be part of the job of a druid. Being a steward of nature, understanding how we can use plants in healing, so like plant medicine, using plants in order to attain, or to help us attain, different levels of consciousness. These are all things that are at the forefront of my druidry, as it were, and I think there is probably an overlap there with the Dungeons and Dragons, World of Warcraft style druid. But then with me being more of a social introvert, the leaning away from things such as politics or the being a master of ceremonies type thing does make sense for my personality type. Things like the politics is definitely something I'm interested in thinking about, but so it's up here sort of thing. But interacting with people is not something I'm as confident with. I mean, real interaction. I'll have discussions on Facebook every day of the week, but we're all keyboard warriors. When it comes to something we're passionate about, it's not necessarily going to translate into the real world, though. Every single time, at least. So yeah, I think my history of being interested in fantasy and other worlds, in magic and all that kind of thing, in fiction, definitely helps as far as my ability to visualize energies and travelling and things of that sort of nature. Whether or not someone else who is achieving the same results has that same visualization progress as myself without the influence of having consumed fiction that contains similar concepts, I've no idea. It's a bit like how I don't like peanut butter, someone else may like peanut butter. Do we taste it differently, or does it taste the same but I just don't like it? It's possible that my taste in fiction has altered the way I perceive things generally, or it could be that it's just that those authors, through some collective consciousness, have just been describing how these experiences go anyway. It's very difficult to know. And again, with Druidry, it's possible that the Gary Gygax, Dungeons & Dragons, World of Warcraft type Steward of Nature Druid has influenced in some ways the type of Druid I want to be, but it's entirely possible that, it seems likely that it just lines up with my personality type anyway, but then maybe that's why I would have chosen those characters in those games in the first place, because that was already an underlying thing for me. Is it that my taste in fiction influenced my path? Was it the path that I maybe subconsciously was already on was what coloured my taste in fiction? The causal link there, I suppose, is difficult to ascertain if thinking about it. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure how long this has been recording for, but there is, I would also like to just mention, first of all, I hope everyone's safe, whatever you're doing. If you're working, then look after yourself, keep yourself clean, all that kind of stuff. If you're not working, if you're in isolation or keeping yourself away from other people, then obviously that sucks, but if you're watching this, then after this video, go on, let's see, that box there, I'm assuming it's roughly there, type in skateboarding fails or lots of puppies, and then hit enter and then spend a couple of hours on that. You'll be chilled right out. Avoid too much media. If you can do all you can to keep yourself safe and clean, keep washing if you're stuck inside, keep showering, keep yourself feeling fresh. Smudging feels like it's great, but smoke isn't going to be necessarily great for your lungs, so maybe a bit of a smudge here and there, but not constantly. Not too much incense. Smudging apparent. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to give any advice because I don't feel that I'm qualified to do so. But yeah, if you're on your own, stuck inside, now would be the perfect time to spend time with your dog. If you don't have a dog, then question some of your life choices and get a dog for next time, because there will be a next time. I think we all are realising now, maybe, or a lot of us are realising that maybe a bit more preparation would be in order in the future. Yeah, but anyway, hope you're all safe. Hopefully I covered the topic satisfactorily. I hope my video was of a hope the video was alright. Blessed be.